This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply. This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play rewards shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
Welcome to part one of a short collection of interviews from former players, managers and big Blues fans. Enjoy. And kicking us off is Darren Purse.
And they'll be thinking, why didn't you keep all them shirts?
Darren, how old are
you? 43.
43.
But then on the other hand, I've got a 23-year-old and a 21-year-old, so I don't think grandkids are going to be too far around the corner.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah, mate. I'm younger than Chris Browne.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe it, would you? Look at him.
No, definitely not.
Nah.
Okay, so Adam Welch is asking, do you remember stepping out on the balcony at the council house in the city centre and soaking up the atmosphere and singing Keep It On with the Blues fans in Centenary Square after we got promoted in Cardiff?
Not really.
No?
I don't remember it too much. I remember little bits of it, but yeah, I was never big on the celebrations. I was always sort of one that stood at the back and just let everybody else get on with it.
Because there was a few days between obviously the final and then obviously the celebrations in the centre of town. I was going to say some of those players, maybe yourself included, they must have been out for those 3 days. They probably don't remember a thing.
Oh, definitely. We definitely was out on a couple of day bender for definite. You know, with the players we had in the side as well, with Horse and people like that, they could drink as well. So yeah, we was definitely out celebrating. But yeah, I can't remember too much. I remember being on the bus and obviously doing the bus tour and sort of the little route and that. But yeah, it's not something that really sticks out in my mind. I always remember the games rather than the celebrations.
Yeah. And Mark Andrew Adams is asking, what was more gutting, losing the Worthington Cup final to Liverpool or missing out on the playoff final through suspension?
Losing the Worthington Cup final, I think.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I'm taking all the credit for us getting promoted because in the Sheffield United game where I got sent off, which was before the Millwall game. He was through on goal. It was 1-0 up. He was through on goal, and I brought him down, and I got obviously a straight red for a professional foul. But I think there's about 10 minutes to go, and if I had my time again, I'd do it again. You know, because the bigger picture was getting promoted as a team rather than any individual glory.
As a defender, then Darren, your natural instinct kind of kicks in, and you don't think about, I could miss this game or that game. It's more like you just want to make sure that he doesn't score.
No, definitely. That was it. It was just obviously bring him down and deal with the consequences. And,
right, here you go. How would you feel if you was a striker?
What do you mean?
And you had that chance to put your team into that final or to get promotion or what have you, and somebody just hacked the back out of you.
I don't really give a flying monkeys what a Sheffield United. To be fair, it's obviously when my final was the 2 Millwall games, you know, and obviously I was a Millwall fan back in it. Well, still am a Millwall fan, and to play in them 2 games were brilliant for me, and obviously the atmosphere on both occasions. And I think I sort of played in them games as if they was my final, if you know what I mean? So it was good for me to play in both of them.
I think just because of the way we'd actually missed out in the playoffs as well, it was just as massive winning over those two games as actually winning the final, because when season after season we missed out in the playoffs, always at the semis, and to quite frankly, some teams that weren't as good as us on paper by any stretch, Darren, it almost became like a hoodoo that we had to break.
Yeah. No, we had to, and obviously it was great that we obviously did it a fourth time of asking, wasn't it? Obviously, I think the games. You look at the games we lost in the playoff semi-final. Getting beat 4-0 at home by Barnsley was a random result, you know, and obviously getting beat by Preston on penalties. You know, and probably the only one we deserved to lose was the Watford game. I thought they were the better side at that moment in time, and we just started to grow as a team by then, and we thoroughly deserved it the year we did get promoted.
On that Preston shootout. Obviously, the one where we lost in the semi. What was it like as a player when you've got Trevor Francis trying to pull you off? Because obviously there was all that hoo-ha about which end it was.
You can't blame that for the penalty misses, and that was obviously one of the penalties that I missed at the post. But I'd never blame that for the penalty. He was just trying to get his point across, because I think before the game they'd agreed to do it, because I think they was redeveloping the end behind one of the goals, and they'd agreed to do it at that end. But then all of a sudden, the referee, I think by police advice, I think they'd have done it at the other end. They was worried about spectators coming on the pitch. So the police said that you got to do it at the other end. And I think that's why Trevor was kicking up such a fuss. But
here's Martin Grainger.
I found that quite upsetting, listening to Lee Hendry's story, because you didn't really realise, obviously, how that affected him. And because you always see this sort of, he was quite out there, wasn't he, cocky little footballer, because he was. I mean, you've got to be arrogant when you're a footballer, because you're playing on like a big stage, and he had that from a young age. And when it does finish, it does affect people differently. But that was hard to watch a little bit, actually. I did feel for him, I must admit. But it happens to a lot of people. Not initially, because you think you're going to go on forever, don't you? And I will admit, we was in Spain one year, and I had a little bit of a break, not depression or anything, but a little bit of a breakdown, a realisation. Wow, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And it was probably all pent up as well from how Karen dealt with the way I finished, which is a whole new story, a whole different story, which a lot of people don't know what went on, and she'll probably say it didn't, but it did. And it just, I never come back to the club for a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years after that, because it just I hated football after that.
Is that a story you could share or not?
Yeah, I can tell you whatever you want and what you want to hear. I mean, to the fact of even having a testimonial that she didn't want to give me. She said, I don't really want to give you it. I'm only doing it because people were telling me to. Giving it in an international fortnight when the club was second from bottom. I think it was in February, wasn't it? Charging me £7,000 to use my own pitch. All that sort of stuff, which when the first thing she said to me, she said, right, I'm going to grant you testimonial, but you're doing it all yourself and not getting any help. Well, what do I know about organising testimonial? You know? And that's why we couldn't get a team to play, because we had to, because it was international fortnight. And in the end, to be honest, it was more hassle than it was worth. And I didn't even get a thank you off the three owners. I don't want anyone to roll any red carpet out, you know, but just thanks for your efforts, but nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll roll the blue carpet out for you, mate.
Yeah, there you go.
No problem.
It took me a while to get over that sort of bit, and I didn't really like football for a while.
Despite that, I can guarantee you were one of the you were definitely one of the fans' favourites, without a doubt.
Yeah, I understood that, and I should have just come back and showed me face and things like. Even to the job, she offered me a job. I think Bruce has sorted it out, which was, I think the salary was £40,000 a year. They was going to put me overnight on a Friday night, give me a day off during the week, so I knew I'd gone home. I've moved back south. All this sort of perks, and it was on an A4 piece of paper full up with all these terms and conditions. And then 3 or 4 days later, he come back in. There was one line at the top, and he went, "You ain't going to like this." I said, "I'm not going to like that, am I?" And he went, "No." He said, "She's offered you £15,000 a year with nothing." So I said, "You can shove out your ass." Walked out his office, and that was it.
Big fan and broadcaster Richard Wilford.
Richard, would you sort of, have you got aspirations to be on the TV commentating on football as well?
No. I mean, that's passed me by anyway. Look, I'm in my 50s and I love radio. And the reason I love radio is it's always more immediate. There's the excitement. I mean, we've been blessed over the years on BBC Radio WM having the goal horn. The goal horn is one of those things that just hairs on your arm.
Who scored? Who is it?
Exactly.
Oh, no, it's Warsaw. It's Warsaw.
So you can go wherever the story is happening in the click of a switch.
Yeah, that is quality.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Come on.
I'm going to say problem with the goal horn, we just do that for a shot on target these days.
Brilliant.
And one thing to say, if I've got one thing in common with Tom is I just love doing the job. And that's why he's still doing it at his age, because
it oozes out of him, doesn't it?
In his blood. It's in his blood.
It oozes out of him. You know,
it does, yeah.
You could go to the Blues, right? And go to the back of bar 8 and the steps that he goes up into the Wiseman area and something, and you could just pick buckets full up of love and blues out of the streets, couldn't you?
A bit surreal on Saturday going to the game with the amount of coverage we was getting on WM. Because obviously, I think there's only one of the two other teams playing in the West Midlands, I think, on Saturday.
There's been no shortage of coverage in the last 7 years, trust me.
And here is the man himself, the one and only Tom Ross.
I do worry about all this comparison to Trevor.
No, there is. No, I'm not making that.
No, not you. I'm saying I worry about it because he broke Trevor's record. He was the youngest player. Now he's got Trevor's goal. Trevor came in at 16.
Very different game then, as well, Tom.
Right, in the top flight, played 21 games and scored 16 goals.
Really? Wow.
That was the first. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's give this kid a chance to breathe,
to develop, and
because he will be a good player.
His overall performance on Saturday was excellent, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I thought he was very good.
He didn't look like a 16-year-old.
No, he didn't.
No,
he didn't.
No.
Now, what I'm saying, Tom, is his memories for the rest of his life.
Oh, amazing for the kid and his parents. His dad's a Blue Nose as well. His dad was a good amateur footballer as well. His dad, I think he might still play his dad in the over 35. So, yeah, good family.
I'm retired now, Tom. I must admit.
I heard he scored 700 goals or something. Is that right?
What, his dad?
His dad in non-league.
I've had them dreams. No, I'd have to check that, but he certainly is. I will say, his dad was an excellent non-league player. My lads played against him in the over 35. So was Paul Devlin. He's a really, really top non-league player. You may just be right, but I have to say, because I suppose over a length of time that may be the case.
Yeah, that's a fair whack.
I played 2,000 non-league games and I scored 5.
Who was
I was a machine. You've got to admit, a machine.
What position were you?
Left back.
Left back. 5's not bad for left back, is it?
What, one every 400 games?
I'd like a bit more return if I was being picky.
You're going to get a proper job, so I'm never ever going to complain about it. I've never had to work hard physically hard like a lot of people have to do to earn a living. I've been very fortunate, but you hone this sort of trade. And you learn things, and I've had to hone it over 40 years.
I said to some favourite moment of yours, Tom, was when we beat West Ham in the Cup semi-final. And you went, bubbles? What bubbles?
I know, the bubbles, they're bursting all over the East End.
East End of London.
I know,
exactly words you used.
But I didn't call them cheats.
Was when Zigic got trod on. Right, and I wish I had that commentary. 9 times you said to him, you said on the radio, 9 times, he's trod on him! He's trod on him! Me and my son were just...
You must have been in the pub then.
No, I was actually at home. And my son was counting up. He goes, Dad, he's got 7, 8, he's got 9.
But he might have trod on him 7 times.
Trod on him. Yeah, Zigic.
But listen, it's a pleasure to bring the games alive, and it's been... And now, sometimes I had the chance before I was here, before the last time I was here, I went to Bristol. Just as a fan, just to watch the game, it was fantastic. Just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
I just went and watched it, and I had the time, and we won. And anything to shut that little miserable bugger up.
Yeah,
Lee Johnson.
Big favourite, Lee Carsley.
Yeah. There's a lot of games. I remember you got to bear in mind that my family absolutely love the Blues. I mean, I was never a big Blues fan. I was a big football player in terms of I just used to love playing football. I'd go to any game that I could. I'd go to Walsall, I'd go down the Villa, I'd go to the Blues, I'd go West Brom, I'd go anywhere. I'd go and watch Moor Green at the time, or any team when my brother was playing, I'd go and watch. my first game of watching Blues, I've done a bit of research because I thought you might throw it on me. It was the FA Cup game against Forest in 1988. My mum took me.
Right.
So we got on the number 17 from Mick and Stella's chip shop. Dropped us outside the ground, and we stood right at the back of the Kop, I think it was, and I was just in awe of, like, I couldn't. But this first game I'd ever been to, proper game anyway, and I couldn't believe that how excited it was and how fast it looked. So then to lead the team out in that first game where I captained the team, I can't remember who it was against at home.
Sheffield United.
How does he know? It's 12 o'clock kickoff. So my wife, my brother, my mum, my uncle, my cousins, everyone was there, and I remember looking over at them and them all being like really like choked up. My brother especially, and my uncle. Like, it meant a lot for them, and it was great that I could right at the end of my career. I think I was 33 at the time. At the end of my career, I could give them that almost inside track of what it was like to be at Blues and be around Blues. But it could have been really different, to be fair. I had a chance at 16 to sign for Blues, but I chose to go to Derby in the end, and it's as did Dean Sturridge. We both we both were at Blues and ended up at Derby County, so it could have been a lot different.
Yeah, that Sheffield United game, Kevin Phillips scored, didn't he, last minute winner? Remember it?
Yeah, I think the fact that obviously not blowing my own trumpet, but signing myself from the Premier League, signing Kev Phillips, the likes of Mike Taylor, James McFadden, I've got Seb Larson, all these real good Championship players and good Premier League players was a big gamble from the club, I suppose, looking back on it, when I'm sure they had offers for some of these players, but to keep that squad together paid off. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, that was a really good side.
I liked him. I liked his staff, Roy Aitken and Andy Watson. When I sat down and I went and met him, and he told me what he wanted to do and the way he saw the team playing, and I don't think he realised that I'd actually already signed. He was selling me the club, and I was like, I've signed already. Like, the contract's already signed. So I think that was a bit of a surprise for him. But it was an enjoyable period for the club, and obviously he done well as well. To get promotion, get a high finish in the Premier League, and then to get a Carling Cup as well would be seen as a good stint as a manager nowadays, especially.
Love him or hate him, here's Robbie Savage.
Me and Danny Mills, I went to smash him, missed everything. It was now having to grab me by the throat. But the game was nothing in it. It was just dull. There was no atmosphere. And that was about the 20-something minute. And I remember something needs to happen here. So in my head, I thought, right, I'm just going to go and smash everything. I don't care if I get a yellow card. If I get a red, I'm just going to smash everything. Missed everything. And, Danny grabbed me by the scruff of the neck. That moment, the crowd lifted. We got a quick free kick. About 5 minutes later, I put it down. We scored. Then I whipped one in the top corner. My influence, my effect on the Blues in that period, I believe, was instrumental. And, I always laugh and joke. And, Mr. Gould and Mr. Sullivan were great with me. And I always said to Mr. Sullivan in the Player of the Year dues, when I won most of them, I must be your favourite ever Blues player. I think I was close behind, I think Trevor Francis, and I think it was me. So, it was a great time for me, a great time. And I do regret it. Because the full time. I do. I'm honest. I'm not bothered, but it does really, now say to my boys, let's go and watch Birmingham in a big game, and go on the pitch at half time. And not because I want people to applaud me, but just to say sorry and say, listen, I made a mistake. That time, I give every game, I give absolutely everything. There was one game with, I think it was, have I said it? Was it for Leicester, Birmingham, Newcastle away? I think it was Leicester was it Leicester? I can't remember when I wasn't at full tilt, but every other game I give everything I got.
Now, you mentioned Paul Devlin earlier, and Paul Devlin's asked me to ask you. Well, Paul Devlin's basically said, ask Sab about when I used to get him in the death choke when we used to room together on away trips. He'd always want to wrestle most of the time, and most of the time he'd be naked. It always ended in choking him out.
But my roommate, great. Listen, one of the reasons that squad was so good. When household names, like in that first game against Villa, they were household names. We went, you look at Sheffield United now in the Premier League. They're very similar to us. Work their way through divisions, not household names, but become stars because of what their attitude, their application, their character, their desire. And our Birmingham team was like that. Dev, the Horse, Benno in goal, Damien Johnson, Percy, BRYAN, Hughes, and then we signed Clinton. But Dev was my roomie, and great character. Underrated. Great on the right hand side. We used to wrestle every Friday night, but because Dev was stronger than me, not now, but because he was stronger than me, he used to let the rule was that after dinner, he would let me have the first 10 seconds to get him in a hole, but he'd always get out. But honestly, some Friday nights before a game, we'd be wrestling for about an hour. We would be dripping in sweat, curtains hanging over the wall, beds everywhere, cuts and bruises. From Friday nights, me and Dev wrestling, but two stories.
Big Blues favourite from the 70s, Tony Want.
You're right, because the saying was back in the 60s, the crowd love a trier, and regardless, and there's been loads of bread and butter players, but if they see you giving your all and you're getting your shirt dirty, they don't mind that. And okay, it's a little bit more difficult now. You've got to be careful. You can't tackle anybody. I mean, it should be called handball anyway, not football, because they use their arms more than their feet, don't they? They get more work with their hands than they do with their feet. It's only the keeper that uses his feet now.
Yeah.
Dean Madams has posed a question: which is the fiercest derby, Tony? The Birmingham derby or the Spurs Arsenal one?
Well, without that, Blues and Villa, because
he said it again.
I said it again. I'm on an hat trick.
You're on a yellow card.
As long as I only get one yellow, not two, otherwise I'll be out of here, wouldn't I? No, the Blues, that was the thing when I first came. We don't care where we finish in the league, even if we have to get relegated, we've got to beat Villa. Well, we waited a couple of 3 seasons before it was possible because, Blues had come up from the second, Villa were in the third and come up to the second and into the first. So it was a long wait, but we did have albeit the very first one was at Villa Park, and we actually lost 2-1. And a father-in-law of mine, who's passed away long since now, bless, but he came and he was a rank Arsenal supporter, and he said, I have never seen an atmosphere like that. That was at Villa Park. Then we played the return game a bit later in the season, was at Blues. It was electrifying, and we actually won that game. And then we were we were fortunate enough to win the double the next 2 years. So
that first one, Tony, was it 3-1?
2-1. The first one.
Was that the time when they had the Tilton Road and they had all like pink and blue little balloons and all?
Oh yeah. But that was the home game. That was the second game. Yeah, but that was at Blues. That was 3-2.
That was my first derby. That was my very first.
Oh, that was 3-2. Yeah,
it was phenomenal. The noise just.
Oh, I've got to admit, if you're not fired up for that, if Blues could, I shouldn't say it because there were some great players in the team then. But if Blues could have gone out and every game was that game, I think we'd have done 4 times better than what we did, if that makes sense. And you say, well, why should you how can you raise it for that game and not others? But there was an adrenaline rush when you played that game. More so, don't forget, Arsenal was known as the library if you was a Tottenham fan.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's the quietest place on the planet. So, it was never really... It was a bigger game, Spurs against West Ham, than playing Arsenal, albeit they're the closest two together, like distance-wise. But no, it's just the way it is. Where Villa and Blues, 3, that's me hat-trick.
No more cups of tea for you.
Them and us was the biggest.
It's because I've already opened the door. He's going out by the window. In fact,
going to bring you some tea. And another Tony, this time Tony Cotton.
Where I'm in life now, gospel truth, because my dad wouldn't have known because it happened all so late. My dad used to come into the ground with me. My dad used to go in the D club. And he was with my brother-in-law that day. As I'm walking up the tunnel, I wanted to run into the D club and say, Dad, I'm playing. You know what I mean? Because I know he wouldn't have gone out until he'd had his quota.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And go out right on kickoff. So I just remember that. And then the first thing that hit me was I'd played there, obviously, with the youth team. I played at an empty St Andrews in the football combination. Was how smaller the pitch looked with the crowd in. That was the one thing that hit me.
Right.
God, it looked so narrow and a little bit longer, but so that was the first things that sort of went through my head. One, I wanted to run in the D club and tell my dad I was playing, and two, when I actually got to the railway end, was looking up and thinking how much smaller the pitch looked.
Really?
Okay.
Now, as a Birmingham City fan, though, right through and through, that moment when you actually cross that white line and the crowd are on your side, obviously. I mean, look, I'd love to.
There's all things that go through, Nick.
Tony, I'd love to flick a burger in one of the stands and serve it to somebody just so I could get a wage with the Birmingham City crest on it. I'd love it. Anything. I'd do anything, right? But as a professional, right, you're now walking out to the team that you've watched and adored all over those years, and now you're part of it. How did that feel?
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum one reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details.
Hi, I'm Derek Klassen, host of the Athletic Football Show. Today, I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back. No questions asked. Boost Mobile offers the same nationwide coverage, network speed, and service consumers are used to, but at more affordable prices. Why would you pay more if you don't have to? Boost Mobile also understands that change can be scary, which is why they allow you to try their service risk-free for 30 days. And if you're not happy, you can get your money back. So start saving on wireless today with Boost Mobile's unlimited plans starting at just $25 a month. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find us online at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan. Customers who cancel within 30 days of activation will have Boost service fees refunded. Activation fees, if applicable, and phone payments will not be refunded. The Boost Mobile network, together with their roaming partners, covers 98% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds are not available in all areas.
Well, it's the best feeling ever. The time once I'd signed for Birmingham.
Goosebump alert.
Sorry?
Goosebump alert.
Dream come true, innit?
So once I'd signed for Blues on a regular basis and my trial period was over, I don't know. I can't count how many nights I used to lie there, think, will I ever make my debut for Blues? Will I ever play for the first team out there? And then I used to recount all my mates from school and living near me who were Blues fans. Will they ever get to see me play for the Blues? And literally, when you do go out, those things did happen. I wanted to run in and I wanted to tell my dad, the pitch looked smaller. Then I've saved the penalty after 54 seconds.
Did your dad see that?
Huh?
Did your dad see that penalty save?
Yes. Yeah, he was up in time. He told me after that somebody had ran in and said, your son's in the team. And he'd even left a full pint, I think he said. And ran upstairs. And so as a goalkeeper, as the ball's getting moved around the pitch and it's up the top end and you've got a corner 4 or whatever, there's so many things that can go through your head. The first and foremost is please don't make a mistake. Please don't let the team down. Don't let the supporters down. Or if I make a mistake, you know, when I go back to Tamworth, there's going to people reminding me of my mistake. They won't remind me of my penalty save that I just made. But I did feel 10 feet tall because I'd saved a penalty with my first touch on my debut for the team that I adored.
The wonderful Gary Pendry.
Lorimer, of course.
Lorimer.
92-mile-an-hour shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was offside. He was definitely offside in the sense. He was definitely offside. I tell you, if they had VAR nowadays, he was offside.
He was offside.
Yeah, I think they'd have still beat us.
Right, Janie Tarbuck's got a question for you now. Can you say after? Is it true, Gary, that you got to get another job while it was close season to earn extra money because you didn't get paid while there were no matches on?
No, we did get paid. Well, I know what she's on about. When I was apprentice, so we're talking about 64. You see, 64. Those days there'd be probably a 10-week break between the. You know, it's a long time. We wouldn't have all of that. We'd probably have about 6 or 7 weeks. But obviously we didn't earn a lot of money then, and we used to do jobs. The first job I did, I worked for a fella called Peter Dryhurst, and that was a scrap metal. It was a scrap metal trade, shoveling swarf and that in Adderley Road. He had a big yard, and I did that through the summer. And I never wanted to do that again.
Yeah,
and then the next summer, I worked in just down from Max Dog Street. There was an underseal. They used to underseal cars. You lot are younger. They used to spray the underseal. I used to mask them up. I used to stand there and pull the masking round to stop the underseal going up any further. I did that in the summer there. Throughout the summer, I didn't want to do that again.
No.
And then the last summer we had, you've had Phil Summerley in here before, and Phil and myself, we worked for Chardin Glass.
Oh, right.
And, I actually fitted some louver windows in somebody's house somewhere. I don't know. I don't know how long they stayed in for, but I didn't want to do that again either.
What a shame that you don't know whose house it was. If
anyone knows, are they still there?
Yeah, they are. They're still there. They've done some work for me once.
Could have gone up at
I think there's a louver window.
Right, okay, Martin Swinsky, please ask Gary what the feeling was like when we lost that semi-final in 75. I was there that night and it still hurts, 46 years on. Has Gary still got that painful feeling of what if?
Every time you see a semi-final of any sorts, it's the same thing. My brothers, my brother Ken and my brother-in-law Graham, they used to follow us everywhere at the time, and they drove home from Manchester that night and never spoke a word to each other. It's
horrible.
I mean, it was just so close. We've been, in all honesty, we were poor on the Saturday. We were poor. We were fortunate to get the replay. But at Main Road, I mean, there was only one team going to win. And it should have been us, but it wasn't us. But I'm afraid that is that is as bad as it gets, I think.
Liam Dash on the Battle of Ancona.
It was quite an infamous experience as well. Played at Ancona in the Anglo-Italian Cup, and we went out there. In them days, you went out with your manager, physio, coach. Didn't have no security with us or anything. Played the Anglo-Italian Cup, and then just it got very feisty during the game, to say the least. And had a very aggressive coach that came onto the pitch at every opportunity and tried to attack our players. And I remember at the end we won the game, and we went. I think Barry Fry had taken the lads back, and I just disappeared. The game was over. You know, that was it. I was off, and it was one of these European stadiums where the tunnel went below the pitch, and then you walked up some stairs, and I found myself halfway up the stairs, surrounded by Italians, and then it got a little bit warm, and before you know, all bedlam kicked off, and the Italian coach that was causing all the problems suddenly he wanted to get involved again, and the rest is history. Really, we found out that we got out of town pretty quick, and then we found out that we were they tried to deport 3 of us
to go back and face charges in Italy. I found out back in when I'd moved from Coventry then got these letters through to say that I was wanted in court in.
Sorry, brilliant story.
Grievous bodily harm and whatever, and hence I've never been back to Italy since. So,
and Liam, are you allowed to go back to Italy, or don't you know?
I don't know really. I mean, my wife a few years ago wanted to visit Rome and that, but I've just got these visions that if I ever went in through passport, someone would get the big crook out and say, "Come over." I'm not really going to chance it, but to be fair to it, you know, at the end of the day, it wasn't. In all seriousness, it got quite hairy actually, because you know, as I said, we weren't surrounded by security. We were just a team, and you know, we were defending ourselves really, because it did get quite nasty really, and out there the best. But as I say, we didn't have anyone to look after us. You know, we were basically put on a plane with the kit, our boots, a few staff, and it was like just another game. It wouldn't happen nowadays.
No.
We made the back pages again, though.
Again, yeah, it was. I think the end of it was, or the end of what happened with me was, the fellow that was pressing charges wanted an out of settlement fee of something like €30,000 or something, and it was all. But we had lawyers involved, and I think it was me, Michael Johnson, and David Howe were involved in it, or named. You know, there was a lot of racism out there as well. It wasn't a nice place to go, and you know, at the end of the day, we were looking after ourselves and had to.
The immensely talented Bryan Hughes.
It wasn't long after you did that, was it, that you came to us?
No, it was basically Wrexham progressed through and went to the quarterfinals. We went to play Chesterfield. Chesterfield got to the semis against Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
And Wrexham we had Chesterfield in the quarterfinals, so it was always going to be a League Two club going to the semis. We were favourites on the day, obviously because of the scalps that we'd taken. You know, Birmingham City, West Ham. We took a few scalps along the way, so people had us as favourites to go to the semi-final, but we lost 1-0. And up to that point, I didn't know anything about the Birmingham rumour. I didn't know that Birmingham were interested in me, and we lost on the Sunday. It was on TV on the Sunday, and I got a phone call the next morning off Brian Flynn, who was my manager at Wrexham at the time, and he said the club have accepted a bid from Birmingham City. I need to go and speak to Trevor Francis that night, and Trevor was doing I think it was the Liverpool-Newcastle game, the 4-3 at Anfield. And I met Trevor after the game in one of the hotels in town with Mick Mills. And then we sort of thrashed out a deal. Then we travelled up on the Tuesday, got everything sorted, got a medical, signed the papers, and then I think we had a game that night on the Tuesday night, which I stayed for as well to see the team. Got introduced to the lads in the dressing room. And then that was it. I was a Birmingham City player from then on.
Fantastic. Who was your first against for the Blues?
Sorry, what was that?
Who was your first game against for the Blues?
My first game was the Sunday against West Brom. I was on the bench. Trevor put me on the bench. We just won on the Tuesday night. I think Paul Hayford scored the goal. And it was West Brom away. And it was the game that Brucey fractured his eye socket or cheekbone or something.
Oh, yeah.
We lost 2-0. I came on for the last 20, 30 minutes. Trevor introduced me, and then the games after that played the final 10 games or so. We went unbeaten after that, actually. And we just missed out on the playoffs.
Yeah. Remember it well.
Yeah. 248 appearances and 34 goals. I think Paul will remember every single one of them.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many memorable ones, Bryan. You know, some brilliant goals that you scored for us. The ones I would say for me, I mean, what? I mean, obviously not me, but what's your favourite goal for us? What would you say if you could go back and relive one goal you scored for us? Which one would it be and why?
This Halloween, what's under your costume might just steal the show.
Wait, is that glow-in-the-dark underwear?
Booyah. MeUndies has dropped their spookiest collection yet. Glow-in-the-dark undies and PJs so comfy, it's scary.
Tricks, treats, and buttery soft briefs.
Exactly. To get cozy and spooky for less, go to MeUndies.com/trick-or-treat and enter code TRICKORTREAT to get 20% off your first order. That's 20% off your first order at MeUndies.com/trick-or-treat. Code TRICKORTREAT. MeUndies. Treat yourself.
One of my favourite goals was strange one, was the penalty against Liverpool in the cup final.
Yeah.
You know, I wish it would have been the winning one, but it was the opposite way round. They had to score to keep it, to take it to sudden death. But it was one that really stuck with me, being an Everton fan against Liverpool at their end. That was one that I really remember. You know, there was a lot of pressure on me at that point as well, though, to keep us in the game.
Yeah. But how close was you, Bryan? How close was you to winning that for us with that chip from almost the halfway line on a festival? Did you think that was it? I thought it was it.
Yeah. You get when you're playing, you know, I've said it a few times to people, when you're playing golf and you hit a ball, sweet, you know that it's going to be a good one for you, and it's going to go down the fairway. It's going to be sort of where you want it to go, really. It was the same sort of feeling even when I'd scored some memorable goals and some good goals where I've gone at plays and put things in top corners and stuff. I just knew when I hit that I actually thought it was in.
Yeah.
I couldn't have hit it any better. It was just a fantastic save, you know.
Yeah.
Another yards outside of his goal, Westerveld, it's probably he wouldn't have got there.
No.
But he just got the slightest fingertip, didn't he? And just turned it around the post. But yeah, I thought it was in, and I was off. I was sort of off, getting ready to celebrate, and I was absolutely devastated when it went round the post.
Yeah, and I was. Yeah.
But yeah, you know, people talk about some of my goals as well. You know, the Watford goal the week after.
Yeah.
You know, Trevor left me out of the starting 11 in the cup final. You know, I felt like I was gutted, but I felt like I didn't want it to get on top of me. I wanted to perform when given the opportunity. And after that game, I sort of wanted to show people that I should have been playing like that game. You know, and the way that goal against Watford, it was just a natural reaction to a ball that came at me. I've done it similar things. Lads will probably tell you, I'd probably do it 100 times in training, some similar sort of movements. But it came off on the night on a really slippery surface as well. You know, it was frozen pitch that night.
Former Player of the Year and coach at Birmingham City, Paul Robinson.
Did he just ask about the sulking?
He did,
Yeah, that's right.
I think he was asking if you've seen it as well, Robbo.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it plenty of times. I've seen it plenty of times where players have thrown the towel in and they've just given up. And for me, I don't.
That's incredible.
Sorry, Robbo. How does that sort of rub off on the rest of the squad in your experience?
Doesn't happen. Not if you're in the changing room with me. It doesn't happen. You're gone. Like, even I'll put my foot down with you because you respect the manager that's come through the door. No matter what we're feeling or how you're feeling, is you're professional and you get on with your job. You get paid a lot of money to do your job. And if you're going to act like a baby and you're going to sulk with how the manager wants you to play, then you're no good for this football club. You need to move on. You need to find stuff.
I like your philosophy, Robbo. I really do.
Paul, I think you already answered my question. What I was going to ask. I was going to ask about you personally. If you were in that situation, you know, would you let the sulkers get away with it?
No, you don't.
No. Well, I got a feeling about the side. The change was a shock to a lot of people, and I got a feeling that there are the squad as a whole contains people who aren't quite into the new style, and that's we need somebody in the side, the captain or senior pro or whatever, to throw his weight around and say, hey, you know, give him a ticking off, shall we put it that way? Which I don't think that is happening at Birmingham City at the moment. It just isn't.
Certain players don't like being told what to do, though, either. That's the problem in football now. A lot of players don't like being told honesty.
Because they think they're bigger than everything else and bigger than the club.
Yeah, but not even that. They just don't like people telling them, like, being honest. Why are you not running? Why are you not doing your job? Why are you not helping your teammate out? Some people don't like that. Unfortunately,
I'm 61 years old, Robert. And
it's just the way the game's going. Unfortunately, it's going where you want leaders in the dressing room to all have their opinion, but you respect their opinion and you get on with it and you roll your sleeves up and you fight.
Yeah.
Oh, Robbo, there's some great questions coming in on the message board at the moment, and
it's mad.
Nigel Mann has asked if you could form your ideal backroom staff from people of past and present, who would they be and why?
Oh, so well, I might give that away if I do get a job.
Well, I'm willing to talk terms, Paul. Don't worry.
Yeah, me and Mark will be there as well if you need us.
Yeah, I'll have a look out on my phone as well, Rob. I'll wait for the call.
I'll be there for you, Rob.
I think, like you say, I've worked with a lot of good people over the years, but it's about people that you trust and people trust. You've got to have trust in them. So if I trust them, they've got to trust me as well. And I think that's the most important thing, is that we're all on the same page. We all understand where we want the club to be, where we want the club to go, and there's no grey area. That's the biggest thing for me. But I also want my staff to be big communicators. So if I'm not talking to the players, I'm making sure that they're talking to the players as well.
One of the greatest wingers that graced the pitch at St Andrews, Gordon Taylor.
Players need clubs and players need employers. And we had faith that the club would stay alive and they would still get the paybacks that they get from being in the Football League, where they distribute a share of television money, etc., etc. So the security was there if the club had a future. And as you know, we very rarely have lost a club. Before my day, Bob Lord had Accrington Stanley out of the league, but they got back. And during my time, we just lost Maidstone. But with when I was talking about saving the league, and I mentioned, and they had to bring in the playoffs, because the first division used to have a quarter of all the money, then they had a half, then they had 3/4, then it was inevitable they were going to break away. So we had to look after the league and try and think of things like the playoffs. But what we also did, if you remember as well, outside of the league, they used to even vote whether an outsider club could come in. And they would all get together in the 4th division and just not have people who deserve to be promoted and in there. So there is some real fresh water coming in as well from the National League, and you're seeing how that attracts money into clubs like Wrexham with the film stars. But nevertheless, you'd have to say they look really genuine lads who want to have a part of a bit of history. So it doesn't take much to know the genuine owners from those who are in it for the wrong reasons. And I would just hope that Birmingham have got owners who really believe in the city and the club and its potential. Never underestimate the strength of a crowd and playing in front of a crowd like you see at Birmingham, like you talked about when we had those key games to just stay up in the 1st division. The crowd effect is fantastic. It was great. And it just the same as when we're playing down at Leyton Orient and needed to beat them. And you might well have heard the story, but I took a corner, Bob Latchford put it in. We had to win the game, and Millwall fans were at that game because they wanted us to lose. And Millwall fans invaded the pitch after we scored, and a fan pulled a knife out on me and Alan Campbell and said, if you win this match, you're going to get this after the match, as though that affected us. We won the game 1-0. We were all in the bath. We were having champagne. We were just having beers. We were relaxing. We'd got promoted. And then the loudspeaker came on and it said, please evacuate the ground, evacuate the ground. We've heard that a bomb is going to go off. And believe it or not, we didn't give a toss. And we were... and the next minute, as God's my judge, it went boom. And there was an incendiary device that they put in the stand that went off. Yeah. Wow. Good.
This last clip is Noel Blake talking about his time at Blues and his mental health battles.
So I went up and I spoke to other clubs, and people, London clubs were offering whatever so-and-so offered you, we'll double it and all that. I said, no, I'm going to Leeds. My mind was made up to go to Leeds. and I think going to Leeds was, if you like, was a destiny. It was after the incident I told you about, with the N-word, effing and blind. It was just meant for me to go to Leeds, and I did turn. I don't have no regrets in terms of going there because I helped to change perceptions and views. Remember going around to school with Vinnie Jones and people like that, trying to educate people about this.
I'm not being funny, mate. You and Vinnie Jones walk into a school, them kids are going to do what they're told to straight away, mate. No matter what.
We certainly have,
Wow. But that's what it was. But that's the chance. That's a chance I had to go back, go back to the Blues. But since then, over the years, I've heard things muted, especially in the coaching capacity and all that. But nothing ever materialised from that point of view. But I did have a chance to go back as a player.
Right. Okay. What do you do nowadays?
At the moment, I work for myself as a consultant, and looking after young players. I do some mentoring as well. I want to take my mentoring on to another level. At the moment.
Still in the game then, no?
Yeah, but not. I'm still in the game, but not in the way I wanted to be.
What did you want to be?
I still want to coach.
Right.
But
and you still want to coach now?
I can't.
No.
Right. I don't know if you guys were aware of it, but I had a stroke about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And then what it does is today. I've got all the energy in the world and everything's fine. But when I coach with passion. I'm a passionate coach. That's who I am. I'm not one of these coaches that sit there and you don't exist. No, I'm involved.
Yeah.
Some people 1 minute people say they look at Klopp, they look at Guardiola and Tuchel, and they'll say they're animated. If it's a British manager, you're animated. If you're a foreign manager doing it, it's great. Well, I'm just being myself. When Ericsson was sat there not doing anything, and managers like that, and they're saying, "Look, he doesn't care, he's not involved or whatever." Well, that's not me. That's not me. We've all got our own innate personality. And you are what you are. I'm working my place.
I hope you don't mind me asking, Noel, but how did the stroke affect you? In what way?
Oh, good God! How did it affect me? It changed my life.
Yeah.
It changed my life. I went through spells of depression. I still suffer with anxiety. I had the suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
I'd be walking around looking at trees and thinking that won't take my weight and so on and so forth. And I'm gonna, asking my wife sometimes if there's any rope in the garage and stuff like that. And the thing with it is it affected me more emotionally than physically. It affected me physically, but more emotionally. And in the past, I was one of those ones when people said about people who took their own lives. I always felt it was sort of selfish. But it's only when I experienced what I experienced that I realized it wasn't selfish. They're not selfish. What it is, you're not in control. You are not in control.
Wow.
Thankfully, I'm over that sort of extreme case of that. But occasionally, like I said, I still have the anxiety issues from time to time. But in the local derby, and then thinking back to the game as well, if you remember, there's a bad tackle on Kevin Broadhurst, which I think in the end, more or less finished Kev's career. Listen, local derbies, it's a passionate game.
Definitely.
I've been fortunate enough to have played in a few local derbies up and down the country. I've played in one in Scotland, the Tayside Derby, Dundee and Dundee United. Trust me, that is a proper derby.
Yeah.
Can I take you back to December 27th, 1982, in another similar fixture, and a goal you scored that day. We took on the
so-called European champions. And can you fill us in on your more pleasant thoughts, shall we say, about that day?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first game against Villa. Obviously, it's coming across from there to the Blues, and I knew the lads. I knew all the lads. I'd sort of grown up with them. I was involved in the group that won the league and the European Cup. Although I didn't play in either game, but I was involved in the squads and stuff. And I just. The Villa fans obviously gave me pelters, as I say in Scotland. They gave me loads, Villa reject, etc., etc. They gave me loads. And as you said, right, they were champions of Europe at the time and what have you. And it was a game, we were down near the bottom. And it was a game that we felt over the Christmas period in full house. Everybody's up for the game, And on the day, we played really well. After the first 15, 20 minutes, once we went in front, we played really well. In terms of not what you'd call, and I don't remember the game, not what you'd call fluid football or anything like that, but what we did, we ran, we scrapped, we battled, we had jumped, we had tackled, we had fought, we got in behind them, and they never really looked like sort of, how can I put it, getting in behind us. And I think the scoreline at the end of the day was about right.
Thanks for listening to part 1. Look out for part 2 coming shortly. Keep right on.
This podcast is brought to you by Coral, and they're here for the fans. At the Fan Network, we have a mission to shake up the game we all love, and that's why we partnered with Coral, who've been shaking things up too. With their free-to-play reward shaker, there are guaranteed rewards and exclusive offers to be won every single day. Whether you're a part of the Badging Brigade, the Away Dayers, or the Football Fashionistas, Coral's here for the fans. Play Coral's reward shaker and win bigger guaranteed daily rewards and offers this season. For over 18s only, maximum 1 reward or offer per player per day. Reward restrictions and requirements and other T's and C's apply. Visit gambleaware.org for more details. This episode is proud to be sponsored by Now, where you can stream Sky Sports flexibly. Catch the biggest games this season how you want, when you want. The football season is back, and you can keep up with all the action on Sky Sports with a Now membership. Whether you're perched on the edge of your sofa or hiding behind it, you can capture more of the drama this season with Now. The heat of the moment, the 90th minute winner, that last-ditch tackle, the pride on the line, and the best bit, you can dip in for the derby or stay for the season. With a Now month membership, you can stream all Sky Sports channels flexibly. No fuss. Go to nowtv.com to find out more about sports memberships. 18 plus, UK only. Minimum speed 2.5 megabits per second. Live scheduling may be subject to change. Full terms apply.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.